Hey, so welcome to the very first episode of the Inquisitive Mind of Louis T podcast. I got some great friends around here today. I'm going to let them go around and introduce themselves. I'm going to start with ladies first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I've been reading comics since I guess I was 4 or 5. It's a little wavy there, but I'm also a cosplayer and I attend Comic Cons quite often. So.
How can people see your cosplay?
What?
How can people see your cosplay?
Oh, I have an Instagram. It's timelady_cosplay.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then beside to your left, right? Next to you?
My left, you're
hey,
right.
I'm Jake Motzinger, co-own Memory Lane Comics with my brother, who you'll get to know in a second. You can check us out at downtown Wilmington, 201 Princess Street, and yeah, that's about it.
Can people follow or find, where else can people find and follow Memory Lane?
Literally, almost every social media platform has some sort of coverage, so if you just type in Memory Lane Comics, you'll make it happen.
All right. And then to my right.
My name is Ben Motzinger. I'm the other owner of Memory Lane, as Jake said before. And yeah, I've also been reading comics ever since I was a kid. Before we owned a comic book store, we were going to all the comic book stores, and now we do what we do.
And I am Louis. I vaguely read some comics. I would say I'm a mild reader, but big fan of the genre. But we're going to be talking about a lot of the movies that are inspired by these comics, and then kind of go back with some of the source material and just kind of give our general feels about the end of 2018 and going into some of the stuff we're excited about in 2019. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, one of the first things I want to talk about is the DCEU, being that I think that's like the next big movie coming. So go around and kind of feel like, what are the feelings on Aquaman, and then kind of DC, just the general kind of how y'all feeling about the direction that the DC movies are going in now?
All right, I think Aquaman looks just like stupid and silly enough to be fantastic. So I'm like the costumes are so spot on while being so, I don't know. I just can't believe it's gonna. I can't wait to see how that works on screen. I think it's gonna be ridiculous, but I think because it's underwater and it's Aquaman, he's the butt of every superhero joke to begin with. It should be pretty. I don't know, pretty fun. No one's gonna be that attached to Aquaman's source material that they get pissed off when he talks about his mom being named Martha too or something.
Are you sure?
Maybe. Yeah.
What about you, Ben?
I think I'll have fun watching it, but the same way that I had fun watching from the same producer all the Fast and the Furious movies. I don't think it's going to be like a technically or even comic book good movie. It's just going to be something that's like, oh, that was cool, and then I'll move on from there.
Mackenzie?
Well, I'm hoping the movie is surprisingly good. I've always loved the Aquaman comics. I got more into it once I really got to know the Mira character, and my boyfriend's a huge Aquaman fan, so I'm kind of obligated to really look forward to this. But I think the way I'd see it in the trailers, it kind of reminds me of like Star Wars underwater. Like, it's just so vibrant, it's so bright, it's exciting. Yeah. I think it'll be more of an entertainment movie for people who don't care so much about the source material.
Star Wars isn't a genre anymore though. Star Wars is like anything.
It's more broad now. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Crazy.
But I've told Jake this and some of my other friends. To me, and I even sent him. There's a video out there, but to me, it's like Black Panther underwater.
You're just thinking that because of the arm crossing thing.
Yeah, no, I'm for real.
Yeah,
like,
somebody took the trailer for Aquaman and they took the trailer for Black Panther and like lined up. But
Atlantis always.
yeah.
You know, so
they're trying to say that they copied, but I don't think.
Well, I don't think they copied just because Black Panther. I mean, it seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago, and people had no idea it was going to be the major movie it was. So I don't think they copied, but it's very similar.
Black Panther came out in 2018, right?
Yeah.
It's been like the longest year of my entire life.
But it came out so early. It came out like February. So usually we're used to getting comic book movies in May. So,
or at least the big ones.
Yeah, exactly.
The more exciting ones.
Well, no, Deadpool's a February, so I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
So So nobody's like big sold on this new DCE universe. What about Shazam? How are y'all feeling? So Shazam's
Shazam
coming out
actually looks
early.
awesome.
That looks amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's going to
So-
be the big polar.
The
for,
problem,
yeah.
none of them seem to know what they want to do together, so it doesn't seem like it seems like they just got a bunch of people telling them to make a movie that goes with this other movie, but they're not telling them really what to make it feel like or look like.
Yeah. They all feel so different individually. By looking at the trailers and the set pictures, I don't feel like they're quite connected, but granted these are very different characters too at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't think. I mean,
Marvel started off very connected,
Yeah.
and now it's splintered into its own kind of thing. But
I think most of the time the reason why like it sounds like maybe we're not enthused by what's happening with the DC is because it's sort of like a prove you can do it until we start to not believe in you. And like at this point, I had a really good time watching Wonder Woman the first time, but most of the other ones I was very underwhelmed by. I thought Justice League was not even close to what I was hoping it would be, and unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at with the DC Entertainment Universe is that they have to prove that they're infallible before we're all getting excited about stuff because Shazam looks great, but I look at it as well and go, but it's still DC, and it still could be like they could have shown you all the good parts right there in that trailer, and then the rest of it could be bad. But I have highest hopes for that Shazam movie, and over Aquaman. Yeah, I think Shazam's gonna be just from the trailers. Shazam to me looks like a better movie.
Yeah. And not to go back, to Aquaman, especially you, Mackenzie, since you said your boyfriend's a big Aquaman fan. How do y'all feel about Jason Momoa being Aquaman?
He actually, my boyfriend particularly, loves Jason Momoa as Aquaman. It brings a new style to the character more so, and it feels more, because you think of the classic Aquaman, and you think of the guy with the undies and the tights underwater. That's, like you said, the butt of every joke. But he's so much more than that, and I guess getting somebody who has that image, like, don't mess with me, like, I'm not just, that's how I take it. It's so much more different to give you a new idea of the character himself than the joke. So,
All right.
he's a great actor, so I think he'll do good.
Anyone else have any strong feelings either way for Jason Momoa?
totally down for Jason Momoa. I think that's just anybody who's fun to take over. Like a lot of people don't realize how fun Aquaman, like the comics, actually are.
Yeah. I read a little bit of the Rebirth.
He kind of embodies like how cool he should be.
Yeah.
I guess.
And yeah, I mean, closing out the Aquaman thing, I mean, I am very excited about Black Manta.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the one thing. I'm a big Black Manta fan. When I found out his backstory, and it looked like they stay kind of true to his comic books.
It's
So-
literally the most important part of that movie. I mean, if Aquaman's okay and Black Manta's awesome, it'll be
so
great.
But the Black Manta, the reason why he looks exciting and why everybody's excited is because it looks like they pulled him off of pages of the comics.
Yeah.
And like that's why that new Aquaman suit in the movie looks good. And it's why people a lot of times leaned away from what DC was doing with like the dulled down Wonder Woman costume, the dulled down Aquaman costume, making it look like shells instead of scales, like the way that they did Superman's costume by making it darker than it really should have been. Like these things have all been in comics for years. Everyone's familiar with them. There's no reason to try and make it like edgy or cool. Just lean into the fact that this is a comic book movie. You can make it a comic book movie. Lean into how like incredible all of the things in comic books are. If you lean into the visual look of comic books, you will actually be successful instead of walking away from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with Zack Snyder. And speaking of Zack Snyder and not that, and who's the guy that did Nolan, the Nolan effect.
Yeah.
And speaking, that leads to my next topic. How are y'all feeling about the Joker movie?
I don't really
y'all
know
on
enough
board?
about it so far yet to like. I mean, I think Joaquin Phoenix is a cool choice to play that. I like that they're doing something that's completely off of the radar and not trying to connect it to stuff. I think it's a good idea for them at this point. Just they've already kind of lost that whole connected universe battle.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean,
just make good movies.
For me, exactly. I wouldn't
easy.
even try to do that. Just make a good movie. Have maybe something in the background that can connect them, which that should be easy because they're in the universe that can connect. But just give me a good movie.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Not everything needs to be 30 movies deep to
Yeah.
matter to be. If you just make a really good, like interesting Joker movie, it'll be great. If you want to make sequels, you can do that. Hopefully not. Hopefully they just make a really good movie and step out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sold like that. out of the ones that we went over so far, like I'm not a big fan of the makeup. I don't know. I don't know. That out of the three so far, I'm the most skeptical of.
The 80s are just such a weird time that I think it's just a cool time to put the Joker in, because it's just the culture is just like, there's just so much like interesting pop culture popping up. And I think him being in makeup, walking around, it just kind of works in that time period. It should be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to know the Joker's origin.
No, I agree with you there.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be a mystery, like, but I don't know.
It's like when you make, now Wolverine's was a little kid whose claws popped in some. He was Wolverine origin as a concept is just it's just garbage. Like, it just the coolest thing is that he doesn't know where he came from.
Yeah,
he's really mysterious.
Exactly, especially Joker. I thought bringing up Nolan again, Dark Knight, when Joker just had a different story. I was like, oh, I see what you're doing here. Like, and
that was a cool way to do that.
Yeah. So, all right. Do y'all know about the one? I got a two-part questions for maybe all of y'all. So also quarterly in production is a Birds of Prey movie, but it's also Gotham Sirens. Mm-hmm. So is that two different things? What's the difference between Birds of Prey and Gotham Sirens?
This is a good Warner Brothers question, because they can't figure their stuff out. But it seems like the company just doesn't really know what's going to stick and won't build a plan.
But in the comics, like,
sorry.
Like I'm just saying, like, are those two different?
Two different teams.
Yeah, those are two different completely.
I don't know if the Sirens really like call themselves that as much as it's just like what they're branded, but they're
well, I mean, I just saw something that Birds of Prey don't call themselves Birds of Prey. Like, once somebody in the comics said, "Hey, well, you're named after a bird, I'm named after a bird, and Huntress is whatever, and I don't know what an oracle is, so we should be called Birds of Prey," and nobody acknowledged them saying that. So, but Birds of Prey are heroes, but the movie's supposed to have Harley Quinn in it. I'm not a big DC person, so I'm just seeing how far is that from the source material.
There was a leaked title recently where it said something about the rescue of Harley Quinn. So, kind of to me, when they were talking about it being a Birds of Prey and a Gotham City Sirens, it's like, are the sometimes heroic, sometimes villainous, like anti-hero sirens going to be going after Harley Quinn to get her out? And are the Birds of Prey going to be stopping them? Is that going to be the fight in the movie? Is it going to be birds versus sirens? Like,
Sirens is Poison Ivy, typically. Poison Ivy, Catwoman, maybe Harley Quinn, something like that. And but isn't Catwoman a Birds of Prey too? Or no, not really.
Not typically. I don't
Birds of Prey is
Huntress, Oracle, Batgirl.
Isn't Oracle and Batgirl the same person?
Yeah,
Black
they have
Black Canary.
Black Canary.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
But
I know a little bit. I've read one or two comics. I've seen some cartoons.
It's the same. It depends on the time and when she's in a wheelchair.
I mean, So and the rumored for the Birds of Prey movie, the rumored villain is Black Mask, which I'm kind of excited about.
That'll be cool.
Have y'all heard who's the rumored actor for that?
Unfortunately.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
You don't like that?
No, I mean, I love as an actor. It's difficult for me to separate somebody who's imprinted as Obi-Wan or other characters that I love to be somebody that I've been reading for such a long time. Especially being a Red Hood fan, Black Mask has a huge thing in his storyline. So I'm very connected to Red Hood and everything to do with him, and seeing Ewan as this new... it's just so weird to me. I'm open-minded, but I'm trying to accept it still, I guess.
Understood. I mean, if they're casting somebody good as a villain,
he's a great
that's just,
actor.
The most important.
Has he done anything besides Star Wars? Like, I'm not. that's the only thing I'm really familiar with him.
He was just in that Winnie the Pooh movie that was pretty good.
Yeah, Christopher Robin.
Big Fish was really good.
Big Fish. Yeah. That's like my favorite.
He did
movie
that one with Scarlett Johansson where they kept getting cloned. They were cloned for
that was
escape.
That was him?
It's like
Island?
Yeah, the Island.
Yeah. Okay.
He was good in that.
Okay. All right. So, like, last thing to close out the DC topic. Another thing on this slate is and I think all three. I'm the only one out of the four of us that halfway like Suicide Squad. But they're talking about Suicide
You don't want to tell
Squad.
people about your opinion like that right out of here, do you? Like, no one's gonna trust you if you like Suicide Squad.
No.
Man,
true.
other than it wasn't. I'm not. It's like not my favorite movie.
I just love to
But-
poke you on this one.
Yeah, you can poke me. I mean, if you took out Killer Croc, I would have really enjoyed the movie.
Killer Croc ruined the movie.
He
For
was
me, that
no.
was pretty bad. I was offended by Killer Croc as much as I was with those two Autobots in that second Transformers movie. That
Okay.
that was very. I did not appreciate Killer Croc the way he was portrayed.
I just think.
Okay, I thought you were saying like from a story standpoint, Killer Croc ruined the
I just
movie.
thought you were talking about how his head was disproportionately large compared to his body.
Everything about Killer Croc was terrible. I
And
mean,
then when he
And
spoke,
the movie.
it was yeah, I could see that.
yeah.
Yeah, he kept saying "homie,"
And he
other
wanted
weird
he
stuff.
wanted BET. That was his. That was first of all, the Real Black Entertainment
Look,
Television.
Warner Brothers understands you, right? That's what we're talking about here.
1 out of 4.
Real Black Entertainment Television is called ESPN. Not BET Uncut. But anyway, I digress. So the new Suicide Squad is rumored to have James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy fame.
Hopefully, a
He's-
completely new cast.
Hopefully.
Really? I
You
thought
just gotta keep Croc and let's build around him.
He should be a leader of
That's
the
what the
team.
people
so
want.
so you're not no more Will Smith. You didn't like Will Smith as Deadshot?
He was fine.
Will Smith was
He was
awesome.
fine. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so this is the point of it is that like that will not be for Will Smith's first foray into like an actual superhero movie and not that Hancock or whatever that was. For his first like foray into the superhero genre, it was a very unmemorable role for a very powerful actor. Like somebody that can do such a good job. Like that just kind of shows the way that movie fell apart at times. Was that it took a really good actor and made him really forgettable in a role that was supposed to be the team leader. Like all people really think about is that the Joker got like a weird amount of time in that movie, and that Margot Robbie was Harley Quinn, and then Will Smith was there too. Like that happened. Yeah, and then they shoehorned in like a really weird love story, which I'm super hoping that James Gunn is just like, yeah, this is like a tactical death squad. We're gonna take out the love stories and just make them kill people.
It was just like the directorial choices. Like they CG'd Harley Quinn's pants smaller. Like they made so many weird
that was
moves.
definitely.
They're like men like this. They're like black guys like this. They're give them.
I feel like Warner Brothers or DC. Like I don't know if who was the director for that. Like I wonder.
David. No, whoever did Training Day, which is it's so crazy that the same guy did this. What's his name?
I don't know. I forget what his name is. I just remember him going up on stage after they showed the trailer at Comic-Con and going, F Marvel! Throwing up double middle fingers, and then Marvel execs were in the back just laughing at him. I was like, yeah, you earned that.
Yeah.
So who would y'all like to see? Like, what characters would you like to see in a Task Force X movie?
First off, they just need a purpose to exist besides like fighting some witch or like whatever they had.
That was on their team originally.
The government wanted that like to get these people together for no real reason. Like you gotta. There has to be a reason that they pull them together. So there needs to be a good bad guy. That's the number one thing. Which is either Batman or the Joker.
What about
straight up?
Deathstroke? What if Deathstroke was the villain?
Well,
I think he's vital to the team at this point. Like you need the star power. You can't just like. I feel like you can't just axe Will Smith on that.
No,
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. Oh yeah.
The guy from True Blood.
Joe Mangioli.
Yeah,
well,
that
we
guy.
did see him at the
That's
end
what I'm
credits
saying.
scene, and we haven't seen anything from him since.
He's like capable of taking on the Justice League by himself. Like I think as a tactical person, he's just a bad guy Batman with guns.
Yeah, but I was
It'd be
saying,
awesome to
would
see
he
that.
be a
think he'd be
villain
perfect.
worthy of Task Force X or Suicide Squad?
I don't see much motivation for him to be the villain for that, unless he's like just most wanted or something, and they're trying to go after him.
Like, what if he stole some? And then Warner Brothers, you can take these ideas if you want. What if he like stole some stuff from Amanda Waller and she's trying to get it back? You know, like I mean, he's a paid hand.
Yeah.
So, well, okay. It seems like. So, do you with James Gunn being attached? How do y'all feel about Suicide Squad 2?
Mixed, because I've told you before, I really don't like the Suicide Squad movie. There's very little that I can find that I like from it. But James Gunn is a great we saw what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think he did a great job with that. But I can't see that being applied to Suicide Squad after, having the cast made already from the first movie and everything that's already the foundation for that series. I feel like that would be a big problem for him to overcome. But if he can, then I mean, that's amazing. I'm open-minded.
He puts heart. He knows how to put heart in these movies with these people though. And he's got a good balance for multiple characters. Like Justice League was missing a balance on their characters, and he's got an understanding of how to take the littlest person. Yeah. And at the end of the movie, you're like, man, that good thing they were in the movie, which is something that I think Joss Whedon even struggles with on a lot of his stuff.
Yeah. As long as they do Harley Quinn right in the second movie, that's all I ask for, because I feel like she was the most screwed up character in the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's bizarre choices.
Yeah, because in the comics, Harley is very independent of herself. She knows the Joker abuses her. She knows that he's the biggest toxic part of her life, and she would kill him without a second. And in this movie, they're like, well, we're gonna throw that out back the door, and we're just gonna have her be madly in love with him still. There's a lot to it that just irks me about that character in the first movie. So
yeah, if the Joker was the bad guy of the first film, it would have been 100 times better.
Oh yeah,
because it would have been
absolutely.
Batman's the best bad guy for the first film. If they would just made him the bad, if Amanda Waller was just like, we're gonna get Batman and arrest him and make him pay for his crimes,
that would have been
incredible.
Way more entertaining than what we got.
And it just makes sense for her to be like, all right, get these people together. We don't know who this guy is.
Yeah,
we can't figure it out. Someone's got to take him down. Harley Quinn. It would make sense for her to be on the team.
Yeah.
I still don't see the witch being on the team, but that's fine. We got to have that happen.
Gotcha. So switch to the other side, the MCU. So let's see, we're jumping to 2019, Captain Marvel. We just found out that Jude Law is not playing Captain Marvel. I don't know if y'all knew that.
No, I did not hear that.
So hopefully, spoiler alerts. I'm kind of, he's playing, he's essentially the bad guy they just revealed. I can't remember his name. But how are y'all feeling about Captain Marvel?
I'm in on it. I like the idea of being able to go back in time, so you don't have to mess with too much on the forward movement right now, especially given that the snap happened and they don't want to do too much stuff with all these characters for the time being. So I think it's a cool timeline to put them in. Yeah, I love it.
I know Mackenzie, I talked to her about it. She has an interesting take on it. Plus, if y'all don't know, Mackenzie hates women.
No, I don't. Stop. No, that's
Tell us more.
No, that's false, and that's a joke between us, and that's absolutely false. I love women in a platonic way. Okay, I'm a woman. I don't hate women. I love the character Captain Marvel in the comics. I think she's amazing. And now that they're bringing her into the MCU, I feel like it's a little too convenient with the timing, which obviously that's the point. That's their plan. They've had this out for a while, but I'm also kind of frustrated that MCU has always bragged about being very inclusive of, a cinematic universe for having the 10 years. Yeah, but we've never had a woman lead movie before until after 10 years. And I feel like that's something, they could have fit in Black Widow somewhere, or now that they're kind of shoving Captain Marvel movie everywhere, like, oh, we're, progressive. We're doing amazing. We have a woman lead movie, but I feel like that's just the only.
Where are you getting the braggy feel from?
I watch a lot of Comic-Con panels with a lot of the MCU people. It's a very broad term, but even just the fanboys of Marvel, like I'm a huge MCU fan, and I feel like it's the only thing I hear about is, go Captain Marvel. This is like the first lead woman role superhero movie. I'm like, that's false, and I just want them to do really good with it.
In Marvel's defense, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm not like attacking Marvel.
Oh no,
I'm not attacking.
No, I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying, not you, but in their defense, or at least I guess like in Kevin Feige's defense, Bob Iger used to be heavily in charge of those movies, and he seemed like he was kind of anti-lead woman roles for the beginning of it, and because he said women don't buy toys, people don't buy those action figures, because he came from the toy side.
He doesn't know me.
But progress takes time, and it takes time to convince people that are thinking in terms of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That they should take a risk on that, even though clearly they should have. If they'd ask comic book store owners, I think we'd tell them that large percentage of our customer base is women. It's not what people think, but there's like been a stigma on geek culture for the longest time that it's just like sweaty dudes or something, and that's really just not the case. And I think they're figuring that out now, but you can't be mad at like.
Oh, I'm not mad. I'm just kind of disappointed because DCEU was even capable of doing Wonder Woman before they could do Captain Marvel.
I mean,
But Wonder Woman is a mainstay big three character, and Marvel, like, they don't have a heavy hitter that people had before they were making any of these movies. People still had Wonder Woman wallets, and like you saw Wonder Woman around pop culture. There was a TV show from the 70s, so there's nostalgia built into it.
Yeah,
she's been around since the early 40s, late 30s.
Yeah,
been around for forever, and like Marvel, they just didn't have that staple of characters to pull from.
Yeah, I just feel like they still would have been successful if they did a Black Widow. Because I'm not on Tumblr anymore. Don't say I'm a Tumblr girl. But a long time ago, when Marvel Cinematic Universe really started, there was so many petitions, and I signed a lot of petitions for a Black Widow movie. And I feel
it's
like
coming.
Yeah, too late, but better late than never.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not too late.
I know
it's awesome that it's going to finally happen.
There was talks about having that Black Widow lead role, but she was in Scarlett Johansson. The timeline that they wanted to put it at was also where she had already signed on for Akira, or what was the one she just did?
The whitewash movie,
the Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell, not
something like
Ghost
that. I've never seen it, but yeah.
Apparently that was like the timeline they were talking about was filming it over that like fall and winter to do Black Widow movie, and that it was interfered with by scheduling, and so they're like, okay, well we'll just put that, and then I guess they just started making so much money on everything else. It just kind of went like one after the other, just kind of fell down the line.
They couldn't linger on it because of that.
I think they think in short term. So they're thinking of like, okay, well that was, these petitions like you were signing, the fan outcry for these things were happening right now. But, once that kind of faded a little bit, they're like, well, now people want a different movie. They want these sequels. They want these trilogies that they can look at. Like, we need to move on, and then we'll come back to that when we have an opening in the schedule. And then the schedule got so busy that even stuff like Inhumans, they were like, well, we can't even do that movie anymore because we have too many characters, so let's just make a show out of it. And then they trashed that show.
Which was another Inhumans. That push was another Bob Iger. You see, that was another push from him. He was trying to make that happen. He was trying to compete with, he's like, we need our own X-Men.
He's the guy who got shifted over to just like straight up.
Well, I think the reason Inhumans was a thing was because of him. From rumors I hear.
I think so. Yeah.
So like because it's a group, it's an ensemble, so you can sell toys. Like Bob Iger is now working in the Trump cabinet. Just FYI, just food for thought. Know what
Makes
kind of
sense.
guy. Yeah. So
he's trying to hold back our female superhero movies for forever.
How are you feeling about Captain Marvel though?
Oh, I think it's going to be incredible. It's sort of the opposite of what I said earlier about like DC has to prove it. At this point, Marvel has to like flop before I won't be excited about something they do or they're on opening night. It's at this point where I know that at the very least, Marvel's going to give me a good movie that I'll look forward to seeing again. Yeah. And so as far as like, I think Brie Larson's awesome. I've seen most of her movies. I know like a bunch of people have only seen her in like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, she was really weird. And I was like, oh, she was weird in a movie where she was told to be super weird. Every person in that movie. Chris Evans was super weird in that movie. He played the skater guy, the skater ex-boyfriend.
Yep.
Like these
That's
are
my
all
favorite movie. One of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But so I think a lot of people haven't seen like her more recent work and seen her doing like Oscar award-winning movies and being like an incredible actress that's capable of taking on the role of a strong military female. I think that's something that people need to just give a chance. I think that's what a lot of people, maybe the people that aren't excited about it, are looking at as something to try to complain about. But I think once it's given a chance, it could be very fruitful. Because I know it's supposed to be Emily Blunt. It was like the original talkings. Because after everybody saw Edge of Tomorrow, everybody was like, oh no, she needs to be in that role. But like, Brie Larson can do the same thing, because before Edge of Tomorrow, we weren't really thinking of Emily Blunt as like this total badass woman, action hero. Like,
I mean, I'm not so like everything you said is true. Like, I know it's gonna be a good movie, and I think Mackenzie told me before, and it made a good point. It's almost just like we're just giving you this. Like, I feel like a lot of things like are still good movies, but a lot of stuff is just to get us to the next Avengers movie. Like, we need her in the next Avengers. We're just using
Yeah.
this. We're just it's in. It doesn't really matter. Like Ant-Man, like I heard Kevin Feige say, it was like, well, we need the quantum realm, so we need to introduce this. Like I feel like we're just doing it because we have to. We need to put this
But
little
that's
puzzle.
still on a storytelling basis. That's so important to not have little elements just pop up in something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to have the Deus Ex Machina
Yeah,
to just
like
get
it's
out
just,
of everything.
It's so important. Even in just a short story, like if you're writing a short story, you got to have something can't just have been sitting there. If it's important to the story, it has to be introduced, and it's luckily most of the movies that have been if they've been shoehorned in because of needing some sort of element, they've been good enough to sell Blu-rays and action figures and make characters more popular than they ever were. I mean, it's kind of crazy that they can make Ant-Man like a fun, good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the second movie was Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Yeah.
which is a female character. Just wanted to point that out. Mackenzie.
Duo. You know what? It wasn't her own movie though, even though she did kind of steal the show. Not gonna lie,
It should, yeah. I mean,
she stole the show.
it's almost like a
she's
joke that it was like an inside joke on the idea of it that it was called Ant-Man and the Wasp because it was definitely like
Yeah, it was
she's
the
the
Wasp
one who
and then
wins
Ant-Man.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple times throughout the movie they kind of mention almost.
So, kind of to switch it up a little bit, talk about the upcoming Avengers movies. Who do you think's not going to survive? Like, what's the death predictions of Avengers 4? Who's gonna? Well, we know Spider-Man's gonna make it, but like definitely feel like some of the original Avengers are not gonna make it. What are thoughts on that?
I think they'll shake it up heavy. I got a feeling. I mean, I think Captain America is almost a certainty as being out,
Yeah.
and I think Iron Man is like. It might be a twofer. Like I could see them
Yeah.
going and you
One
have
of
to.
the rumor mills is only 2 of the original Avengers are going to survive, but I don't see that happening.
I mean, Thor, you can only make so many, like just based off of needing him to continue to look young.
Yeah,
Unless they start doing like
Old man
Nick Fury
Thor.
technology on him or something.
Oh.
Like yeah. I mean, how do you continue to make movies with the guy? He clearly getting older, but he's like, I don't know how many thousand years old or whatever. Like
Yeah.
he has to go at some point in order
Yeah.
to keep.
I don't know, but Thor
How would you
Ragnarok was
take
so
Thor
good.
out? Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
But if that was the last Thor movie, I'm totally cool with that. I don't want to see a bad Thor movie after seeing Thor Ragnarok. Like I'm okay with things being cut while they're great
Yeah.
instead of dragging things into the mud.
End it on a high note. Yeah.
If that was the last Thor movie we get until they reboot the franchise of the entire thing in like 15 years or whatever,
Or bring like Beta Ray Bill.
that was a
in.
great movie. Exactly. Legacy characters are going to be. That's the coolest thing about what Marvel's done now is that at some point it'll, Spider-Man and Captain Marvel and hopefully Riri Williams is Ironheart and
Hulk,
Yes.
Holiday's Show.
yeah, and like those and Miss Marvel will take over for Captain Marvel at some point, and Miles Morales will take over for Peter Parker, and you'll see legacy characters can continue these movies for a long time, and it's I don't know, be awesome.
Yeah.
It'll at least be fresh, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons why, we're getting Captain Marvel. She's coming in to presumably take a lead role in a new Avengers team.
Yeah.
And so there are 2 leaders of the Avengers right now, and it's Iron Man and Cap. So at the very least, like, Iron Man's got to retire. I think Cap's gone. I think there's no reason to get rid of Hawkeye. Like, just let him stay retired. Like, he's just a dude, so let him walk away.
Give him a horse and let him ride it off in the sunset. Like,
Yeah,
I'm done with that guy.
But he's in the new movie. He's not Hawkeye though, right? He's like
Ronin.
Does he mean
Yeah.
Ronan?
Ronan.
Yeah, Ronan.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
But I think you got to keep Black Widow because she can run some Black Ops stuff. She can still be part of like a Shield ideal that Nick Fury and her and some others can carry on, doing something cool and like almost politically driven, sort of like Winter Soldier was.
Do a Mission Impossible franchise with that corner of the world and just just roll with it.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, if you're bringing Captain Marvel in to go toe to toe with Thanos, the threats that come after them have got to be a little big for the Black Widows. As far as just like going toe to toe, like Black Widow going toe to toe with Proxima Midnight was a little bit much for me in the most recent film.
I agree.
But I like that she was about to go before the before Okoye and Scarlet Witch came in, and like they were all throwing down our, but it led to some really good moments. She was like, "Why, why has she been up there the whole time?" And like that was fun, but that's stuff that Marvel throws in. But as far as who's going to die, I think you're pretty much looking at Cap at the very least, Iron Man if they really want to nail it in, but I think Iron Man could also just retire and like we could be okay there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Cap's putting on that gauntlet and he's gone.
I unfortunately feel the same way. I think they have to get rid of him. He's the first Avenger. You got to scoot him out to start the new fresh batch of people, like you said.
And he needs to go out on top. Like he's too big of an important and great of a character.
I think he might have the best trilogy out of the MCU.
Winter Soldier might be the best movie.
It's a great movie.
And
It's
Civil War is
fantastic.
pretty good too. Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, the Iron Man movies just got progressively worse in my opinion.
Yeah.
True.
And then Thor was good, bad, awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And now that we don't have James Gunn for Guardians 3, like we don't really know, but if they can keep somewhat near the quality of 1 and 2, then Guardians will be the best.
I'd argue that if Thor: The Dark World were a DC movie, we'd be like, it was decent. Like that's
Wow.
But it had and I want to touch on the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it had so much. It had curse in it. They had so much potential,
yeah.
and it was worse than when the Seahawks fumbled. Like, why don't you just do what you're supposed to do? Anyway, so
Let's not talk about football, man.
yeah.
I'll really get going if you want to go there.
So speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, some of the rumors in the Guardians of the Galaxy for directors to fill in the big shoes of James Gunn is Travis Knight, who's also doing the upcoming Bumblebee movie, which I'm excited
looks
about.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks amazing.
And he's also the son of the guy that owns Nike or created Nike. I didn't know that.
That dude's a genius.
Or
Okay.
Paul, I don't know how to say his last name. I want to say Feige, but it's not Feige. Paul Feig. And he did Ghostbusters, the female one, and Bridesmaids. How are y'all feeling about those guys taking the reins of Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
I thought Ghostbusters was fun. I don't know why people were so upset about it, but
because of women.
no, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because Ghostbusters is man.
It had a letdown of a conclusion, but I thought it was a fun, like, good balance of characters, and it was funny. And I think that I didn't hear that was a rumor but potential, but I think that'd be an awesome choice.
So between the two, you would go with Paul.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of?
I'm a little mixed because don't hate me. I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters. I literally haven't had the chance to.
She hates women.
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
it's
I heard
a
about
recurring
this
theme
about
tonight.
Is it?
I heard about this
No,
about 30 minutes
I
ago.
have not. I have not had the capability to see it 'cause when it came out, I just didn't have the chance to, and I plan on renting it at some point. But I heard it's amazing, and by what you're saying, if he's able to balance enough characters out and have them, have their own development throughout the movie, then that's great. I can't really judge the Son of Nike just yet because I haven't seen the Bumblebee movie and it hasn't been out yet.
But
so.
it looks awesome.
It looks amazing.
Also, first off, Nike. Second off, trailer is good. So yeah, let's just
Yeah,
do
you
it.
know what? Yeah.
Like it looks
Son of Nike.
amazing.
Son of Nike. That's his name now.
That's
I was
it.
I don't
hoping
even care
for
what his real
Travis
name is.
Knight.
I was hoping they would get
that.
Taika
Son of Nike.
Waititi from Ragnarok to do it because I guess Ragnarok had such a Guardians feel to a lot of it. Like I felt like he could do that because once they finally did the team up where you had Banner and Loki and Thor and Valkyrie all in there.
Yeah.
Like once they had that team, like they had some really fun
The
interactions. some really
vampire
fun
movie
moments.
he did is excellent too.
Yeah.
Like I think he'd be like he can handle really. I mean, obviously from Ragnarok, great humor and
What's the artist that was heavily inspired the Ragnarok? It's a J.
Jack Kirby?
Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like he handled Jack Kirby's world so great. Like I don't think he would want to. I don't think he wants to I don't think he wants to fill those shoes. Nobody.
Yeah.
And I think Marvel's doing a good job by pushing Guardians to get that taste out of our mouth.
Yeah.
On that. But everybody was saying Taika.
Yeah.
They
it
should
would be
just
awesome.
chill out and get James Gunn to come back and just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
That would be preferable on the end of it. Just bring him back. Forget Suicide Squad. Just Guardians of the Galaxy.
Just get Son of Nike, but actually get James Gunn and tell him that it was Son of Nike and just
Son of
roll with
Nike.
that.
Yeah. It'd be awesome.
See, I already forgot his real name. Thanks.
Son of Night.
Travis Knight.
Travis Knight.
Are you sure
Still
that's not
Nike.
the dude from Knight Rider?
Kit. His name was Kit.
That was the car.
Was there anybody else?
No,
Yeah, he literally
his
said
name was
dude.
something Knight. That's why it was Knight Rider.
Michael Knight.
Michael Knight. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
So speaking of Jack Kirby, how are y'all feeling about Eternals?
I haven't really heard anything. I haven't heard many rumors about it at all just
Nor
yet.
have I.
They've announced if I was a better host, I would have all that information. But they announced some of the but I don't know anything about Eternals. That's why they announced the characters that they're using. I know one of the, I guess, hot takes or whatever is that Star Fox is one of them, which
That's
Star
weird.
That is-
That's how
Exactly.
they'll link Thanos
Yeah.
into it somehow or something.
maybe, yeah, because Star Fox is newer Eternals, where everybody else are like the old
Original,
Eternals, I
yeah.
guess. Because I'm not as familiar with Eternals.
I read a Neil Gaiman Eternal story like 15 years ago, and it's literally the only thing I've ever read. I don't know why they're doing that, but I remember when people were like, "Why are they making a Guardians of the Galaxy movie?" And I was like, "No.
Yeah.
This is gonna be cool."
But it was also like they took a lot based on the Abnett and Lanning source material, at least like of the core interactions between characters. Whereas with Eternals, like you're literally talking about them popping up here and there in cosmic events, and otherwise we haven't really seen much since like the '80s. You know, since the Infinity Crusades and stuff like that.
I mean, if you came to the store right now and asked me for a good Eternal story, I'm gonna ask Google and then tell you what it says. Like I just can't. But that doesn't mean there's not some decent stuff out there.
I mean, the background stuff, the stuff that they set up so far with like the Celestials and stuff, that if they can tie in with that, and then depending on what we get from Avengers with Thanos being a
See if Adam Warlock joins there, and then if they or whatever's gonna
Is
happen.
Adam Warlock? He's not an Eternal, is he?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. So I mean, I know him and Thanos have a lot of beef, but I don't know how that connected. All right, so to kind of wrap up the Marvel stuff, this is just more like some like brainstorming kind of stuff. There's another rumor. I don't even know if this is a rumor. It's more. This might like Tumblr talk. Is Dark. So one is like Dark Avengers. I hear Dark Avengers and I hear Thunderbolts. Are those kind of my birds of prey? Sauron's questions are those things kind of like similar?
Those
Those
ones
are
are
about
pretty
the
much the
same,
same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
Dark Avengers is a government rebranding of the Thunderbolts to try to make these bad guys seem like the good guys instead of just having like a secret organization. Of Thunderbolts is very much a Suicide Squad where like no one really knows they exist, or if they do, it's clear that it's like a do better to get out of jail sooner
Yeah,
program.
But as far as the cast goes, it's largely one and the same.
Yeah.
gotcha.
Bullseye, but instead he's dressed up as
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Oh, I didn't know what you're talking about. Would y'all be excited for either one of those movies, and would you prefer one of the other far as a movie?
Oh, Thunderbolts for sure. Like, there's no reason to try and because there is no stable like superhero led government right now. There's no shield. It's like pulling people together. So to put out a Dark Avengers movie, you're basically saying it's either going to be like the U.S. government or some new agency. But I think having the U.S. government do a Thunderbolts team sounds much more reasonable because I think we can all say that there's some shady things happening with the U.S. government at any given time. I think Thunderbolts sounds exactly like something that all of us would assume our government would do if we had explosives in the necks of superpowered bad guys.
What about y'all?
I agree. I also feel like with people who just are completely unfamiliar with comics, so I'm going to take my parents, for example. They don't read a lot of comics. My mom does a little bit, but if she heard the title Dark Avengers, she would automatically assume everything to do with the Avengers that she knows and loves from the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. So I think using Thunderbolts in general, like you said, is way better of an idea, and more people can actually not relate per se. We don't know exactly what happens in the government, but they could use that to kind of give them some brain fluid of imagination.
Yeah.
It's much more different and it's better. And the name, I guess, helps separate everything from their minds, because I know it confuses the crap out of people when you use like a similar name in association.
It does, but to the people who are creating this stuff, they think that if they put Avengers on it,
They think they're going to get more business. Yeah.
So I can see that being the case. Just
I don't
because
like
of
that,
though. Oh no, it's the worst. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I'd rather see a She-Hulk movie than Eternals or Thunderbolts or.
With Thunderbolts could have Red Hulk. That would be awesome. Because it's Thunderbolt Ross, and we got a Thunderbolt Ross.
Oh yeah.
I think I just
Like, are they gonna do like a 10-year mystery of who it is, like they did in the comics or something, and his mustache goes away when he becomes the Hulk? Like, I just don't understand it.
I don't have your source material knowledge.
Just answer the mustache question for me, man.
Yeah. But
Why did it go away?
Red Hulk, because it burns away. He gets hot.
Why
Yeah,
did it
but
come
when he
back?
comes back,
when he,
his mustache
when he changed, he changed and it came back.
First of all, if you're trying to make sense out of comics, like, I mean, come on.
My suspension of disbelief stops at mustache going away when you become the Hulk. I can accept you turned into the Hulk.
So, Marvel adjacent, something that's been getting a lot of buzz as of recently, the Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, some of the reviews are out. It has right now. It has 100 and Rotten Tomato score. How are y'all feeling? How are y'all feeling about the Sony side of Marvel with the Spider-Verse?
That makes me feel a whole lot better. My only worry is that they're going to be like, we need to get Spider-Man back because Venom made a lot of money, which Venom was a fine movie. I had a great time watching it.
Fine movie.
It was a fine movie. I don't know.
You're a fine young lad. You're not good.
I've told 15
You're
people
fine.
that you're a fine young man, all right? Even though you're older than I am. And I don't know where I'm coming from that. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, that movie looks awesome. Spider-Verse looks great.
No, I think it's finally time. I think that the Marvel not having control over all their franchises is largely why their animated stuff has suffered for so long. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very. If you compare it to the DC animated stuff, it's very poor comparatively. Yes. But this one looks like it. I mean, this one's good enough to get into theaters and not only be in the series, but be crushing it critically.
Yeah,
I think this is kind of a good step to getting more animated stuff into the Marvel side, which I think would be a good part for them with all these characters aging out, is to have animated stuff that you could continue to use those characters in to tell different stories. You know, if Captain America does die, maybe next winter there's a Captain America animated movie so that kids can get their Captain America fix and see something with Steve Rogers again.
Yeah.
I love animated movies in general, and like you said, DC like kills it with animated movies.
Oh,
I'm so into it. I've been so disappointed in all the Marvel animated movies, but this,
except for the new Avengers.
yeah,
classic.
that's good. But this whole Into the Spider-Verse thing, animated movies can do a lot more than live action movies can do, in my opinion, because you can only do so much with CGI without it looking like crap.
Yeah.
So having the whole Spider-Verse and having all these people come from their own universes and their own Earths, it also opens that door and opportunity to insert that idea into the actual movies when they get a good enough feel with it. And I also love Gwen Stacy with all my heart as Spider-Gwen. So I think it's also having Miles Morales. I know like a lot of people who are now going to cosplay him because they're like, yes, I'm a person of color, and now I have a movie of Black Spider-Man. Like that's awesome. I love it.
Well, I mean, it's awesome that they can do that and like go ahead and get people familiar with this character of Miles. Whereas in Homecoming, in the MCU, they definitely put in
made a
that
reference.
So like we're gonna see him, and people will be comfortable with the character by that point.
So the
which
scary
is
part
really
is
awesome.
that this movie does really well, and then Sony wants to get Spider-Man back, doesn't let Marvel do Miles in the movie. I don't know how those contracts.
I think honestly, and this is all room. I don't know, but some of the stuff I follow, the part of the negotiation or strong arming of getting Spider-Man back was, I think they have the right to Miles Morales, like MCU, Marvel.
Yeah, but
they were going to put out. It's like, well, if you don't let us get Spider-Man, we're going to just put out our own Spider-Man movie. So I don't know how that works or not.
Oh, you're saying that Marvel still had the rights to Miles?
To Miles Morales, yeah.
Because he was created after.
He was created in the Ultimate Universe, so he would have been a new property created in something that wasn't a Amazing Spider-Man book, which is all that Sony actually owned.
Awesome.
So
my other problem is like I just get worried about like the fatigue of all these movies after. They've already announced like multiple spinoffs for Into the Spider-Verse.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah, they're doing an all-girl, like all-female lead, like the different generations. I think like Spider-Woman with Jessica.
Yes.
I want to say
Jessica Drew.
It is Jessica Drew.
Yes,
I was right.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen, and I don't know who the third one is.
Didn't they? I thought they said it was Aranya.
I don't know who that is.
It's a Hispanic female Spider Girl from a different universe.
Is that Silk?
No,
No.
no. Silk
Silk's
is
Asian.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. She wears a mask. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think Spider-Gwen is so popular, especially in your world,
Yeah.
like cosplay.
Oh my gosh,
that
so many.
that if it, running off that's a good idea. I don't know what the other. There's another. I guess another Miles Morales sequel to the movie, that's been greenlit too. So yeah, I guess my big one. I feel like they put a lot in this movie, but hopefully it works because you got all the different Spider-Men, Spider-Gwen. Like, it seems like there's a lot. So I'm just kind of worried about it being too much. But I guess it works. And then I think, kind of like what Mackenzie was saying, I think you can get away with more in an animated movie, where if it's a real movie, it'd be like, like Justice League or Batman v Superman. I feel like they jam too much into it, try to get me too much to set up stuff, where they're just following the story. So, and I mean, I don't know enough about the source material to know if they're kind of following the whole the storyline. But that's my one quirk, I guess I would say, about the end of the Spider-Verse. It seems like there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about that movie. To me, it's just like it seems like it's going to be like it looks really good. Everybody's saying it's really good. Yeah. That's fine. It's just a matter of what happens next, and that's what.
How are y'all feeling about Morbius?
That's where
Not
you're
great.
starting to get,
Yeah.
unless it's just its own thing entirely. Like if it ends up being like if a Blade movie came out right now that appeals to a whole different audience than is watching all these other Marvel movies necessarily, which would still bring all those people in. You just get to a point where it's just like, if they try to make a superhero movie or something, I just don't see it working. I don't know.
No,
It's weird.
I get that.
And who's the guy playing Morbius?
Jared Leto, I think.
Is it Jared Leto? So he's doing. Well,
I don't think he's really Joker anymore.
Yeah, he pretty much bowed out of that one. I mean, it'd be cool if to take some of these characters and explore more of the horror genre with superheroes or people in the Marvel universe or DC universe even. Like, that's why I'm really excited about that New Mutants movie. Like, if we ever actually see it, they keep pushing it back a little bit.
We're not going to ever see that.
That's a shame because it looks cool. Like, it looks like a straight up horror movie that you're putting mutants into and making, like, I guess, crossing the superhero genre with other genres, which I think is a lot of how you keep some of these things fresh, keep them alive. Which, like, when you talk about worrying about the fatigue, I think that bringing the horror aspect into it, bringing an animated film into it, like, these things keep it different enough to keep it fresh. And I think that, like, then when you go back those 2 or 3 times a year and see the big production, big budget Marvel and DC movies, it won't seem like it's so much when you're getting good content in other ways.
The scary thing is the idea that they start to do stuff that's just not that is either too experimental, like kind of like The Last Jedi or something that just doesn't work. And all of a sudden, like, I know so many people who are like Star Wars fans for life that are now they would almost no longer consider themselves, or they're not a fan of anything Star Wars that comes out from this point forward or something. They're
The Last Jedi was decent. I'll die on this hill.
But, like, I know people that hated that movie
I
so
agree
much
with
they
that.
didn't go see Solo. And, like, Solo was an awesome just kind of adventure movie.
It was to sit down and enjoy it sort of ride.
I mean, my
Wait, so you got time for Solo but not Ghostbusters?
Yeah,
We're going back
because
to
my
that point.
boyfriend made me watch it. He actually sat me down and was like, "You're watching
And
it."
we're not going to go too
You
far
guys are
down
gonna see
this.
Ghostbusters.
We're not
It's
going to
gotta
go too
happen.
far down this Ghostbusters Star Wars, but Solo was not a bad movie, and I agree with you. You know, that shouldn't. The last Jedi was pretty good in my opinion.
I liked it a lot.
but Solo was unnecessary.
But what happens if Avengers 4 gets the same sort of reaction that Last Jedi did, where it just like splits in half, and people don't go see Ant-Man and the Wasp and Yellow Jacket or something, whatever comes next.
I'm not worried about
Well,
that.
I think you also don't have 50 years of people speculating on or 45, 50 years of history and like fan fiction
Yeah.
or like published fiction novels in this universe that leads these a lot of fans to like take ownership of what happens in these films, and then when their theory doesn't come true, get like really upset about it.
I don't know. People get butthurt about some stuff real quick. That one just worries me for that kind of idea.
I mean, I can understand that, the fear of that, but I think that you also like you said, Last Jedi was experimental. I don't believe that Infinity War, the next Avengers, I forget what they're calling it. I don't believe that's going to be very experimental. I think it's going to be pretty much like it's going to be a nice stopping point. It'll be a big moment in these comic book movies where they actually do kill off somebody important.
Look, I don't think that movie's going to be bad whatsoever, but I'm more so talking about if Morbius and all these other things start coming out, and all of a sudden people are just like, I don't really do Marvel movies that much anymore.
I mean, eventually it's not gonna be.
Do you think they can end on a high note? I guess is kind of.
I mean, I don't know what one and the wrap this up. The one thing they got going for them is, especially Marvel, you get different things. So, if Marvel was doing Morbius, no, not Sony, like if they just made a vampire movie and it just happened to be in that world, that would work. And that helps, and I think that helps the fatigue you're talking about.
I'm totally in on that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one thing that comic books stuff has going for it that it can do. But speaking of like New Mutants and stuff, two things, last two kind of topics. One, real quick, have y'all seen the Deadpool Princess Bride? Like, how are y'all feeling about? Do you feel like that's Disney influence?
No, I love that. I think it's awesome.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many kids come in the shop and want to read or watch Deadpool or something, and like their parents will buy them the action figure because they can't really like go make up their own stories for that stuff. I mean, they'll be fine with that, but like parents will not buy their kids that stuff, and they want it so bad. I think it's awesome to like make that for a certain age.
Yeah.
If they're creative enough, it could be better than the R-rated Deadpool.
So how do y'all and we can just go out talking about this. So now coming in January, Marvel's going to have regained the rights to mutants and Fantastic Four and everything. How do you feel like they should integrate that in? Like, what are your thoughts? How do you feel like that's going to work? Do you want them to and does that make you even care about? Do you still care about New Mutants or Dark Phoenix or any of that stuff, knowing that it's over with?
Yeah, I care about New Mutants because it looks like a decent film, and I would love to give that subset of the X-Men and the mutants their opportunity. But we've seen already some of these characters from Dark Phoenix, and I think that Dark Phoenix just is most likely going to be the same as Apocalypse, which is just not a great movie.
I definitely don't need another Bryan Singer universe X-Men movie whatsoever.
I don't need a Bryan Singer movie ever again, ever.
But I think, I don't know, back to your idea on integrate, I think they should do the House of M story and make that a movie. Make it so that the mutants have just been like Scarlet Witch wished them away for the past however many years, and
like we're not gonna really get into like the TV shows, but they're doing a Scarlet Witch and Vision. Now, actually, I think they just revealed that it's actually a Vision show, but co-billing.
Yeah.
So they might. I don't know. I wonder how they're gonna use that to seed movie stories. Because I'm sorry to put more context to it. Disney has Disney Plus. And that's going to be launching, I guess, next year. And some of the stuff that they're going to do exclusive for Disney Plus is Loki. Loki's doing a show. Yep. They're talking about doing the Captain America wannabes.
Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Yep. There you go. Thank you, Ben.
That's pretty disrespectful. That's fine.
Huh?
That's pretty disrespectful. That's fine.
That's what I'm here for.
Both those guys take up the mantle at some point.
Yeah. I mean, the wannabes. Yeah, might as well just call him U.S. agent. And
not cool, man.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think the first one is Scarlet Witch and Vision. So I wonder if can you introduce that concept of House of M on television into the movie universe?
No, I think you need the big actors. I think you need to actually adjust. Well, I don't know if it's set in the past.
I mean, the actors from the movie that are going to be doing the TV shows. Like, is it going to be Paul Bettany?
Yeah,
and,
I mean, well, I think you need more than that, though. You need a big cast. Like, you need to show that, like, after House of M happened, or before it happened, I guess there was some sort of change and alter. So like, what happened to all the mutants? So I think you need to introduce everybody that you're trying to through that concept, because it'd be that like they all went away and just are just doing regular jobs or something right now. So I don't know that you could make that happen in that. I think it just needs to be its own movie, like Civil War was or something.
How do you feel?
Oh no, I think it would have to be something bigger because, like I think that they would have a way to show it, like a nod to it in the past. Like I was just thinking of the scene from Age of Ultron where they talk about how none of the other experiments are still around, and like they very specifically say none of them made it. None of the other ones are still around, and it, like, what happened to all the other experiments? Did she say no more mutants and just the ones closest to her like died just from the impact of her chaos magic, and like the ones further spread out, maybe they just didn't get their powers, they just never developed their powers. Maybe it just like snapped everybody out of it, and that was, and then her and her brother, because he was the only one that she really knew about, were the only two that survived.
If she had no idea that she had recreated a different timeline essentially, and then that came to a realization that she had done that'd be kind of cool if they introduced it there and then you go to the movie or something. But if you did that way you can have your classic X-Men. You don't have to have kids necessarily. Like you can have them having,
I think they're going to use the Eternal. I feel like Eternals somehow is going to seed mutants. I don't know how. Like I don't know how, but for some reason, like I feel like a lot of these movies that you like, why are they doing this? I feel like they're using for a bigger overall arching thing. So
maybe they'll end it with like a big Earth X story and show that these celestial seeds were in the Earth or something.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just excited to not have to see Bryan Singer X-Men movies.
God, please, no more Bryan Singer ever. He's trash. Like as a person and as a director, he's trash.
Yes.
No more Bryan Singer.
Well, I really appreciate everybody coming down. Go around one more time and give our farewells, thoughts. If you're excited about anything else that we missed, ladies first.
I guess I'm looking forward to the Blue Beetle movie that was recently announced. That's the only thing I can really think of that we didn't cover. That's basically
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, they announced Blue Beetle's going to have a movie, and I'm still waiting on my Flash movie, no big deal, and my Gambit movie.
With Channing Tatum?
Yeah, the thing that was supposed to happen several years ago.
And Taylor Kitschem, they talked about both of those.
Yeah.
Or Taylor Kitsch.
And the
I don't know
Zatanna movie that's apparently happening too.
Ooh,
That's
that'd
in
be cool.
talks. But yeah, I'm excited for everything. I don't see anything that I'm open-minded to everything. I'm not like against any, maybe the Suicide Squad. Everything else I'm totally open for and excited for, so yeah.
And your social media, your name, social media, everything?
Social media, Instagram is timelady_cosplay. And that's the only thing I have because I'm antisocial.
Jacob Motzinger, I'm really pumped for Fantastic Four, I guess, would be I'm really, really, really hopeful that they can make that. I would love to see like a John Krasinski, Emily Blunt,
God, please,
Fantastic
John
Four
Krasinski,
thing.
Emily Blunt.
It'd be awesome. And I think that's another kind of easy thing that could just really separate them from, like, further cement their whole storyline and keep things fresh. Would be a Fantastic Four movie that's killer to see, like the first family of comics doing some cool stuff. So. Come by the store and check us out, and we'll tell you how Lewis likes to buy comics and not read them, and we can kind of go for it from there.
Ben Motzinger. I guess I'm excited about actually getting the X-Men in the real MCU, getting them mixed up with everybody else. Also super excited about the next Star Wars film. Keep down on this hill. Excited that Bryan Singer will no longer be in charge of anything X-Men. And yeah, you can find us at Memory Lane Comics on Facebook, 3 different words. Memory Lane Comics on Instagram, all one word. And Memory Lane Comics with an X on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm Louis T. You can just search the hashtag IMoLT for content. Website coming soon. We can look for us on YouTube. Any places you can find podcasts, and Facebook, Inquisitive Mind of Lewis T. I mean, I'm really excited to see what James Gunn do with the Suicide Squad. I mean, I know one of the things he wanted to do was the Thunderbolts movie. So to see if he does that take the Avengers, just to see how they're gonna wrap the bow up on that. Oh, and I don't think I ever gave my take on who's gonna die on that. So I don't. It'll be sad if they did kill Tony Stark's, because it's supposedly the rumor is he is either having a kid or had a kid, and that they're getting married. So that's because there's supposed to be a big group shot with everybody. So it's like, but that would probably could be good cinema if they did it. But everybody's gonna like, how are you gonna make us cry twice? You know what I mean?
Just put the lemon juice in the cut. It's fine.
It's like, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
I'm about to walk out.
But thank all y'all for coming out. This was
thanks for having us.
Yes,
good
thank you.
times.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right.